what hail, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to try to be both thorough and fast when we look at this guy. It is the new Studio Series 86 Blurr, and he will be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, all the groups that I am either a mod or an admin for. All those links in the description below. Check me out all across social media. All those links also in the description below. And if you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member. And this is Blurr. And in the beginning there, yes, I was speaking fast because it seemed like it was appropriate for this guy. Now, I was on the fence because I was quite happy with my Titans Return Blurr. But is this guy good? Better? Worse? Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And yes, indeed, we jump into Studio Series 86 with Blurr. Studio Series 86 has been a long time coming to my neck of the woods, baby. But it's finally here. Now, I have heard some rough things about Blurr. And a lot of people say, you know, he has certain weaknesses and challenges and this and that. Usually, I try to avoid information before I get something in hand because I get built up with too much hype and the product doesn't live up to the hype. Although Cyclonus did. I keep saying that, and it keeps being true. What about in this case? Well, in this case, it's a bit different. My expectations were quite low for this guy. So, is that warranted, or is this guy better than what I've been led to believe? Well, before we look at him, we're going to start off with the packaging first. And yep, here we have some packaging. We have Blurr right here with his big chin. Close-up of that big chin on this side. Again, the same image over there on the back. There you go. The Battle of Autobot City is his stage piece. Because this is Studio Series, we get this here stage piece for display. So if you want, I mean, you can take Blurr and boom, I guess, if that's what you want to do and if you have the space for it. I don't, but it's a nice feature nevertheless. We got us some small and simple Studio Series instructions, but they're clear enough. Here's Blurr's blaster in white. I think I prefer it in silver, a la Titans Return. And this welding torch. Apparently this was in the Planet of Junk scenes. I don't know. I don't remember. But he comes with it. And yes, indeed, here we finally have Blurr. He is able to hold both accessories in his hands just fine, no problem. What if you don't want them in his hands? Is there something you can do for accessory storage? That's where things get a little rough and you got to be a bit creative here. So we'll take this out and we'll take this out, wiggle it out, and we're going to just stand the guy up. And I'm going to just turn him around briefly here just to show this. So you can open out this piece here, and there are two little tabs inside here. We use them in vehicle mode to store the, I don't know what you call this, the welder thing. But if you want, in this mode, I'm trying to, of course, do this on camera now, so naturally it does not want to work. For the record, it goes in here super duper easy, like every other time but now. Like, is it because I'm doing it the wrong way? Probably, there you go. It's because I was doing it the wrong way. My fault. So, you can still put that in there in this mode, and guess what? It works just fine. As for the blaster, there's no 5mm ports anywhere, but you can store it up there behind him if you want, and it's alright. Does it affect articulation? Well, we're going to talk about that in just a moment, because I'm going to leave it in there when we do articulation. But first and foremost, here he is next to, and yes indeed, here we have my custom Titans Return Blurr along with the new Studio Series Blurr. And I often defer to Starscream wife and ask her her opinion, like, you know, should I replace the one I have? Should I use the new one or not? Do I keep the one I have? Like, kind of, what is the kind of going mentality of which way to go? And a lot of times, you know what? She will say both are good, or you know what? She'll struggle over it, or sometimes she'll be very definitive with it. And I usually go with what she says because she got good taste for this stuff and has led me in the right direction before. In this case, when I showed her both of the Blurs, she immediately said the Studio Series, said that one. So I guess the Studio Series will probably be the Lad. Now, I like both of these and I love the Titans Return guy. Now, I looked at Titans Return Blur a long time ago in episode 138, but I looked at him with custom paint in episode 271, along with some work on a custom cop and a custom jazz. So it's been a long time, but it's still a great mold. It still stands up and I still love it as Brainstorm. So in terms of grades for the new guy, well, the new guy is a pretty great looking Blur. Everything is basically molded the way it should be. Arguably, the pieces on the back of his arms are too big, but I think that that's actually arguable. I thought they were too big, but when I look at the animation, like, the pieces on the back of his arms are actually fairly large, larger than they are in the Titans Return, so it's probably fairly accurate. The white inside his chest, accurate. The upper part sticking off of his head, that should have a little bit of yellow in it sometimes. It depends on the animation you look at. I'm going to say it should be in there. The rest of this is pretty good. So we're missing that little bit of yellow in the light blue section coming off of the top of his head. As well, on the very top, tippy top of his shoulders up here, it should be dark blue. And like his wrist cuff, right in by his wrist, that should also be dark blue. But besides that, this guy is pretty much exactly what you would want. I'm going to say it's a 9.75. Almost a perfect looking Blur. Articulation for the guy, we have a waist. And even with the, like his blaster down in the backpack and that piece on the bottom, we still have a free-flowing waist. The arms are on a soft ratchet, oddly. They go around, out to the side. I like the way this is done. It goes way out, but the shoulder piece doesn't move and knock him in the head. We have an elbow to 90 degrees. We have bicep swivel. We technically have a wrist swivel out to the side as for transformation, but it can do it. Now, if this is up on his arms, then we lose the wrist swivel. The Titans Return does have a wrist swivel, so that's one thing that has over this. The head can go left, right, look up a little bit and look down just a little bit. We'll call it the wiggle. Then the legs go all the way out to the side. We go all the way forward. We can go all the way back. We have a thigh swivel. We have 90 degrees at the knee, and we have ankle tilt. So we might lose wrist swivel, but we gain ankle tilt because the Titans Return guy doesn't have ankle tilt. It's pretty good articulation. Honestly, there's not much more I could want. Wrist swivel would be nice, but outside of wrist swivel, that's about it. I'm going to say that the articulation is a solid 9.5. What about the transformation? Well, if you know the transformation of the Titans Return, then this is very similar. Now, I did a mod on my Titans Return where I hollowed out the whole section back here. So now he can actually transform without having to remove the Titan Master head. This guy, you don't have to remove the Titan Master head. A couple of things are different, but there's a lot of familiarity here, man. Now, I will also point this out. Is it this leg? It's this leg. There's a round peg and a rectangular peg. The round peg just pegs in. The rectangular peg more slides in, so it's a bit weird because you're trying to slide that peg in while lining up the round one to peg it in. I didn't like that. And in the instructions, it just kind of says, like, snap the legs together. So what I did is I actually shaved down that rectangular peg, so now both of those pegs just snap in. Neither hold super duper secure, but they hold good enough. So let's do the transformation. We're going to take that out of there for now. And we will begin by picking that off of the back. We're going to bring it right up over. It does fit in pretty nicely. The head's in behind there. And then this chest piece rotates around. All that pretty easy, nice, elegant. This piece comes down. It's not like, the trick is, maybe I could get it with his blaster. Maybe I can't get it with his blaster. This is the seat of the car mode. And I find it's a nuisance to get out. I don't know, like I feel like that this should have been easier. Sheesh, there we go, we got that done. The seat is now out, it's a bit of a nuisance. Oh, we open out that section, we bring this down over the hand, we close it up, and we rotate the hand around. Same over here. We open out that section, bring it down over the hand, close it up, rotate the hand around. Then on the white armatures up here, we can pick those off and rotate that arm up and rotate that arm up and just sort of bring these down now kind of out of the way. Yes, this has gone off screen, but that's okay because we're going to actually deal with the legs next. And the legs are definitely the biggest bear on this guy. The feet, you angle them up on the front. They are on pretty heavy ratchets. The first time I went to move them, I thought I was going to break them. I didn't, but it didn't, I can't say it felt good. Then the legs open out. Now, they are tabbed in at the knee area, really quite securely over a little tab here. I find that I almost have to stick my fingernail in up by the tab to open it up. Open up that side, and then same over here. Open up that side. We bring out this piece. Very similar so far to what we did with the Titan's Return lad. These legs, they will tab together and then they're going to, you guessed it, fold up over. Mine kind of came apart there and you'll notice my seat went back down again. That will happen. I'm going to take these arms up out of it and then really these legs should come down. But before these legs can come down, actually I need to take these arms back down out of it. Before those legs can come down, we have the shoulder sections here. They unpeg and fold underneath and fold underneath. What's going to happen is when we fold the feet in, right? So now I want to get that up out of the way. When we fold the feet in, there's a tab here on the white that will go into a tab right there. The knee section that was tabbed in will again tab in over here. It's both quite tight. So we get this past and we fold this in and we get this past and we fold it in. Tab in. I find it's good to tab in the knees first, then tab the legs together, and then I can kind of get the feet here tabbed in the way I need them done. Like I do, personally, I do the feet last. There, like that. Then this comes down on the side, and when it comes down on the side, we bring it in and it tabs in. Let's see if I can show this actually. There's a tab right there on the side, that on the light blue, and there's a tab right here on the dark blue. The tab on the light blue runs vertically, the tab on the dark blue runs horizontally. So we bring this in and we bring this one in. Make sure that's up. Should be able to push that in and push that in and make sure we have the arm lined up and make sure we have this arm lined up and in, and boom, in the end, here we have Blurr in his vehicle mode. You will note that I still did it with this piece down here. We have a little, I'm going to take that out, we have a little rectangular tab up right there. That little rectangular tab uses a rectangular slot on the side of the blaster right here. And that goes in sideways like that for storage. And then this, again, uses these two little slots here. That goes in like that for storage. How does he compare to the Titan's Return lad in vehicle mode? And here we have both vehicle modes, no comparison. Obviously the Studio Series 1 wins. However, this one has rolling tires. It's a hover car, but it has rolling tires. This one doesn't roll. It has no tires. It's literally a hover car. The idea is that Blurr can sort of fly. I guess you could push him along. because he hovers. So if you actually want him to roll, Titan's Return is probably the way to go. Otherwise, Studio Series is probably the way to go. The transformation for the Studio Series, lad. And there are some familiar ideas, there are some good ideas, some not so good ideas. He was scoring really well because I said the look of the guy was 9.75. The articulation was like a 9.5 actually. He's quite excellent. When we get to the transformation, the arms, they're fine. The way that they transform, they're fine. I wish the wrists felt a little stronger. The way the front is done, fine. I like that the chest flips around. The seat, I wish that there was a tab or something that made that easier to pull out than what it is. The way that this piece folds out, no problem. The way the legs are done. Generally like the Titan's Return. If you know the Titan's Return, then you generally know the legs here. Not a huge problem. What is a bit of a challenge is the round peg and that rectangular peg because they don't peg in the same way. I suggest shaving them down like I did. It makes the transformation exponentially easier. Underneath, fitting the knee pieces back into tab in and the feet pieces in can be a slight nuisance, but nothing major. It takes some getting used to. Blurr generally is pretty good. One might worry about the armatures that the arms are on. One might worry about flexing some of the plastic to get it to fold underneath here. And when we transform him back, unpegging these legs and knees is a bit rough. I'm going to say that the transformation feels like a new kid on the block. Like I feel like there is a fairly new designer to Transformers that's coming in that has some great ideas, but they're still kind of learning the ropes a little bit. Also, the face sculpt, that was a little wonky. I do love light piping. The chin's a bit too long. So the transformation 8, overall, the guy was getting a solid, say 9.5. An 8 here, he's a solid 9.25. It is an excellent Blurr, but you have to be okay with the longer chin. You have to be okay with a couple of places that should have dark paint not having dark paint. Unless you want to try and match this indigo yourself. I've already tried. I don't know if it's going to happen. And you need to be okay that he is truly a hopper car and does not have tires. Barring those three things, I think that he is a solid selection for the Studio Series line. And wouldn't you know it, a little addendum before we go here, I did manage to do a little bit of customization on the guy. For the yellow, I just used a gloss bright yellow, and it matches the yellow there perfectly, and I just applied it with a toothpick. And for the blue on the top and down on the wrist, I used a folk art shiny acrylic ultramarine blue. It's kind of an indigo color, but it is a perfect match, and it is just the icing on the cake that Blurr needed to be the quintessential look for the guy. I think that you don't get much more perfect of a look than this. Functionality, none of the marks change there. He is a great Blurr. Not perfect, but he is indeed a great Blurr. And here we are, and here he is once again, and color me surprised. I was all set to really kind of be harsh on this guy. I'd heard some not great things. Okay, let me tell you what I've heard. I heard that the joints were very loose on the guy. Not on mine, really. The joints are pretty good on my copy. I do agree that there are certain choices that were made with tabs for the transformation that shouldn't have been done. That's why I actually shaved down the tab that was on the inside of the leg, that rectangular one. It makes it exponentially easier to tab the legs together, at least on my copy. I'm glad now that I was able to add the little bit of yellow up on the light blue head crest and the little bit of extra blue on the, I don't know what you call them, shoulder intakes, shoulder thrusters, whatever they are, and down on the like the little wrist piece. Yeah, he looks the part. Starscream Wife immediately said, yup, this guy. He looks great in robot mode. He looks great in vehicle mode. The transformation is interesting. Like I said, shave down that peg. Other than that, it's a pretty good transformation for the most part. The articulation is pretty great. It's all there. We do sort of kind of lose a wrist swivel, but you know, that's made up for because we gain an ankle tilt. So what do you prefer? I like him. I like him. A lot of people, I think, have given him a bit of a bad rap, and I don't know why. I also love light piping, personally. Not everybody does. I think he's great. I think he's a solid entry in the Studio Series line. If you're happy with the Titan's Return, great. If you have the Takara Legends version, that's a fantastic one. Here's the thing. If you want something that is animation accurate and you have the Titan's Return, you can either customize it like I did, or you can get this one. I would say get this one. It's definitely easier than a full customization. If you have the Takara Legends one, do you need this one? I don't think so. I think the Takara Legends one probably fills the bill for a lot of people that already have it. That being said, I would possibly suggest doing the cutout like I did so that you don't have to remove the head of the Takara one, but that's up to you. Yeah, he's going to take the place of Blurr. And I will add this, the original Blurr was very light for a deluxe even at the time. This guy is heavier. This guy comes in at 80 grams. It's not quite what a traditional deluxe has been, but you know what? It's pretty darn close. Close enough that I think that the price point, the moniker of a deluxe, actually fits this guy. Yeah, Blurr. I'm a big fan. Didn't expect to be, but glad that I am. Let me know what you think about Blurr. I appreciate you coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member while you're at it, man. Hit the subscribe button. Stick around. Have some fun with us here on the channel. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you do make a difference, and I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.